The art of the tackle, as any American football player will tell you, is knowing when you go low and when you aim high. The football game works in 10-yard increments with a pause between play. Each minor win takes you closer to the end zone. The same game, in other words, being played out across the nation right now. A party in opposition looking for these incremental gains to get back in the political narrative.
Virginia is a microcosm of that game in action. Democrat blue in the north, Republican red in the rural south, a Senate candidate who describes himself as Trump before Trump was Trump, and a handful of critical races which could hold the key to whether Democrats take back the House.
And it's these suburbs of Virginia that will be decisive. Affluent, college-educated, often conservative women may drive what happens next.
The policy for me right now is money, monetary things. It's the equal rights for all people.
Pause for a second. Equal rights for all people? At this point, I'm thinking Diana is a Democrat. But listen.
And which party is offering you that?
This time, for me, it's the Republicans. Now, I have voted other ways before. For me, this time, it's Republican, yes.
And is that because the candidate, him or herself, is saying something that you really like, or is that what's happening at the top of the party?
No, it's just because I like the fact that the top man right now is saying what he thinks, what he says, and he's sticking to it. And he's doing well for our country.
She's talking about Trump. She just doesn't say his name. In the neat reductionism of election stereotypes, they're calling it the battle for suburban mum.
She's one of the good guys.
Abigail Spanberger, mother of 3, is a Democrat fighting in Republican territory. Don't be too fooled by the domesticity.
I'm not a superhero. I am a former CIA officer and a mom.
Somewhere between asking someone to commit espionage and asking someone to buy Girl Scout cookies is asking people for their vote. So it's been an interesting experience.
Because you're going after, essentially, the suburban mum. I mean, you know, the mythology is that this election in Virginia is going to be decided by affluent, fairly conservative women.
That is the mythology. I am not yet sure if that's it certainly isn't the full picture. It is a big crux of it because there are so many women, many men, all age groups, and people who are really just disgusted with a Washington, with a Congress that is driven by ideology and focused on bickering and not attempting to solve problems.
What about the women who are the quiet Trump fans?
Yeah.
If I asked them, they wouldn't tell me who they voted for, but they will go and they will vote the red ticket.
This is the first time that there's been a real competitive race. And so many people across our district who have always voted Republican, well, that's because that's been the clear option. That's where the yard signs are. That's who's out campaigning. And so I think we've created a bit of a shift here by just presenting another option. And so for some people who have historically voted Republican, they're open to recognizing or at least previewing what their options could be.
She's giving succor to groups like this, people who'd never been political in their life until 2016.
We didn't know what voting districts we even were in before Trump became president. So it has energized a lot of us, and it's really made average citizens want to step up and really be a part of their own government.
A lot of women like him.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I mean, he's, he's not, he's the guy that said grab him by the pussy, right? I mean, he's not for equality for women. He's been inciting violence and this rhetoric about fake news and about immigrants are, criminals.
Nancy Pelosi.
Spanberger's neck and neck with opponent Dave Bratt. He comes from the Tea Party wing of the Republicans and can't seem to get her name right.
Nancy Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi, you might remember, is the West Coast Liberal former Speaker of the House. He's trying to scare voters into thinking Spanberger is more of the same.
A vote for my opponent will be a vote for every single Nancy Pelosi agenda item. On and on and on.
And there's good reason for that. Many suburban voters here are not easy Democrats. They're what you might call Romney Republicans. Centre-right, fiscally conservative. Yes, they may have voted once for Trump, but they find him a bit crass. Special elections here last year showed them moving away from his party. At the same time, they're definitely not socialists. And, whisper it quietly, they don't want to lose the things that are going well now, like the economy. There will always be those who wear their heart on their sleeve, or perhaps house. But often this state offers nuance. Like Steve Hopkins, a sixth-generation Virginia cattle breeder. He doesn't love Trump, but he likes what he's doing. Are you proud of him as your president?
I'm proud of the policies that he's enacted. Now, do I support everything he has individually said? No, I think sometimes that he's on the extreme, and I'd prefer that he not do that.
You sound very forgiving. There are a lot of people in this state who are avid Republicans who still find it really hard to tolerate what he's doing.
I don't want to see anyone inflame things. I don't want to see that happen. Here again, if I had to classify myself, I would classify myself as a moderate conservative. And I would like to see the politics that way. But when it comes to election, you have a choice between two candidates, and you have to make your choice between those two candidates.
The candidate making him pause for thought this time, though, is Corey Stewart.
I'm proud to be next to the Confederate flag.
A man who's embraced white nationalists in his past.
It is not about racism, folks. It's not about hatred. It's not about slavery. It is about our heritage.
Nowadays, he's tried to distance himself from them with limited success. He ignored our requests for interview. This was the state, don't forget, that witnessed one of the darkest episodes of Trump's first year in office.
You had a group on one side that was bad, and you had a group on the other side that was also very violent. And nobody wants to say that, but I'll say it right now.
Stewart's trailing badly in the polls, and Trump, never a fan of losers, doesn't seem to want much to do with him.
We're BBC.
Oh, you are? Yeah. Good for you. Tell me your name.
Emily.
Emily and?
Alicia.
Alicia. And? Justin. Justin. Good to see you guys. Well,
He's
thanks.
not with us.
I'm with Abigail.
He's fighting the incumbent Senator Tim Kaine, a backer of Spamberger in Virginia's 7th District, and a name you may well remember from 2016. Yes, running mate to one Hillary Clinton, the man who would have been vice president if she'd won.
People want bridge builders, not destroyers. People want people who can ennoble this rather than just name call. And in my case, I got a campaign theme of Virginia that works for all, and my opponent has a campaign theme too: take back Virginia. I don't meet anybody in this Commonwealth who says they want to go backwards.
And when you see the president now on his whirlwind campaign tour, you look to the other side and say, who is that figure? You know, it's like the Henry Kissinger question. Yeah. If I want to call Europe, who do I call? If I want to call the Democrats now, who do I call?
You know what? You just called these young first-time candidates. Let me give you an example. In Virginia last year, we had the best year we'd ever had as a party in a statewide election, swept the statewide races, won more seats than we'd won in any year since 1872. We didn't do it with one message that everybody had to follow. It was first-time candidates. It was, 11 of our 15 winners were women, Latin American, African American, Asian American, Muslim American, immigrant-born, LGBT, openly transgendered, social workers, teachers. We just took advantage of the energy.
Virginia Democrats know their state could be decisive in delivering control of the lower chamber. That urgency, plus the new faces, have brought a palpable enthusiasm to the activism this time. But as I travel around, I can't help thinking of Diana back at the football game and wondering if it's overestimated. In 2016, we learnt, belatedly perhaps, to follow the noise of the crowd. But what happens if this time the silence tells us more?
Do you know which way you're voting yet for the midterms?
Absolutely.
Can you tell me?
No, it's top secret.
See, that's what you get here, and the Republican supporters are just kind of afraid to speak up, so the polls are all inaccurate. So we're definitely voting Republican. We believe in progress this country's made, and we believe that we're going in the right direction, and we want to see it continue to go in the right direction.
I wonder if is that right, that women who want to vote for President Trump or Republican don't feel quite as able to say that?
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. I think the majority of the women that, at least that I know that are Republicans, don't speak out. We just keep quiet and vote the way that we always vote.
Shy Trump fans may not sound like a likely demographic, yet in well-heeled, well-educated parts of the country, they could emerge as the pivotal one. Perhaps they quite like how things are turning out in these immaculate pockets of America. They're just not ready to say it out loud.